Hey guys, it's Fatma here. A lot of you know me from Twitter at Fringe Bats, and some of you know me in real life. I'm going to be starting this podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy it enough to continue listening and enjoy what I have to say or think about the world of TV, movies, comic book heroes, books, the whole lot. I have a lot of things that I enjoy, and I hope that we can all share it through this podcast and make it as interactive as I possibly can. I'd like to start a bit about myself and just to give you guys a bit of a background about me. I am a British Muslim Arab. I'm also a scientist. I graduated with a biomedical science degree, and I love a lot of science, and I did a lot of experience in that world. But the main thing about me and what I want to be sharing on this podcast in general is the interests that I have outside of that, and how some of those interests can also relate to my real life, day-to-day activities and my work. But in general, yeah, I absolutely love superheroes and books, TV shows, and the like. So I'd like to start about how I got into this world. And I think my absolute earliest memory of it was when I was about, I think, younger than 10, but older than 7, somewhere around there. So 7 to 10. That was a very long-winded way of saying 7 to 10. But yeah, it was the Batman animated series. And back when I was that age and young, our family had Arabic channels, and one of the Arabic channels had the Batman animated series, but dubbed in Arabic, because we didn't have cable or the British version of that, which is Sky. And in general, our parents wanted us to maintain, or at least continue, our Arabic language as much as possible, or make sure that we don't lose it. So at home it was mainly Arabic TV, and a lot of it did have a lot of programs and stuff from the Western media, if you'd like to class it as that. And back then I loved it and I enjoyed it, and I'd see Batman continuously just putting Joker into Arkham Asylum, and I saw a lot of the awesome stuff that surrounded that, and it was a really great memory. But at the same time, after that time period finished, I kind of just I did other things and had other interests, and I didn't really continue or delve deep into the world of superheroes. But then what reignited it a few years later was the Dark Knight trilogy, and from then I just continued to delve deep into this universe and find out more about Batman in particular, because I absolutely love how rich Gotham is, and how obviously rich in terms of characters and in terms of what it provides in a story setting, but and how it had a lot of different relevant things, such as like the corruption of the police force and the villains and the characters and the struggles of family, and how Bruce Wayne dealt with it all. And then through Batman, really, I discovered Superman, and not that I didn't know who Superman was, but I delved into his world a bit more, and into the Justice League in general, and I just fell in love. And ever since then, I've just been extremely passionate about them, I guess, to say that lightly. So when Man of Steel was announced back then, I was extremely excited, and when I first went in and saw the movie in the cinemas, I was just so in love. It was just an amazing experience, and the way that Zack Snyder brought about Superman in live action, and how the story was so relatable and um so great, for lack of better words, I guess. There's so many ways that I could have described Man of Steel, but there's a special place in my heart for that movie, and for what it did in general, and how the movie was made, and how Superman was portrayed in that movie. It was just a great movie to watch. And then we all had to deal, as a fandom, I guess, we all had to deal with the controversy that surrounded the movie. And back then we thought it was just too much, but little did we know that Batman versus Superman would generate something that till this day is still discussed and debated. But then the Ultimate Edition came out, and that just, I sometimes I sit there and watch it, and I watch Ben Affleck's performance and Henry Cavill's performance, and see how they worked together and how those characters interacted. And then having Wonder Woman in that movie was also something that was really, really, really enjoyable. And then some of you have gotten to know me since the Justice League, at least know me through Twitter, through the Justice League debacle, and the atrocity that happened there, and how we tried, as all of us together, we tried to get the true vision of Zack Snyder's movie to come to light. And yeah, so this is just a general knowledge about me, and how I ended up so enamored into this universe. And yeah, I also love a lot of the CW shows. A lot of them, at least the early seasons, for sure, they had a lot of great things in them. Deathstroke and Arrow, that storyline was amazing. Flash did really well in the first few seasons, in my opinion, and I'm sure there's a lot of things to be enjoyed in them currently as well, but I just couldn't keep up with the amount of content that there is out there, which is an amazing thing, because then it just gives everyone the chance to relate to the characters that they love, and the storylines that they prefer, and how their portrayal is ultimately given to the audience. But yeah, I love Doom Patrol, which is something that's really, really amazing at the moment. It's a wild ride, I guess, but it's also such a well-made TV show. Titans is also a great addition to the world of DC, or whatever they're going to call it. I'm really, really looking forward to DC Fandom on the 22nd of August. It seems like DC has finally gotten to grips with what they want to do, and how they want to have this multiverse work together, or not even work together necessarily, but at least have it set up in a way that fans know what they can pick and what they can choose, and they're all valid, which is another great thing about what we'll see in DC Fandom. But yeah, there's just so much to be had in this universe. You've got the animated series, which are all stellar. Justice League Unlimited is one of my all-time favorites. And you've got the movies and the comic books and the TV shows, and it's just such an amazing time to be a superhero fan, I guess, and be able to enjoy these characters in whatever format and whatever medium you can get your hands on. But yeah, a few things that I am obviously excited for in the future, that I'm more than happy to talk about if you are willing to listen, is the Zack Snyder's Justice League, definitely. The Wonder Woman movie that's coming out soon. That's also something to be excited about, and I'm really hoping that I can get my hands on some tickets for the movie for that. And the Matt Reeves Batman movie, that's also something that I'm really excited for, especially because they're filming in Glasgow. Glasgow's a city that I absolutely love, and it's got such a great vibe to it that I think translates really well into the Gotham universe. And I think the imagery and the vibe and the portrayal that Matt Reeves is going for matches really well with Glasgow in general. So a few days ago, I did ask you guys to ask me a few questions just to see how you guys would like to, get to know me a bit better, or I don't know, find out things about me that you might want to know. So the first question comes from Lisa, and she asked, if you were to create a superhero, how would they look like? Which superpower would they have? And would their alignment be good, evil, or morally grey? In all honesty, this is going to sound very selfish, but I would create a superhero that's similar to me, perhaps a female scientist who's Muslim and gets her superpowers through a lab, I guess, which has been done before. I get that. That's not really original, but I don't know. I'm open to different ways of having this backstory work. So what superpowers would they have? I'm going to be greedy and ask for a few superhero powers. Mind reading is one of them. That's for sure one that I absolutely love. Controlled mind reading. It'd have to be a controlled mind reading, because that could also be debilitating. Super strength and healing. So that's also amazing. And speed and maybe an affinity to water. I don't know how those all match together, but affinity to water is amazing. It's just like, you can control someone with that, because your body is 70% water. A lot of people seem to forget that when they think of water as a limiting thing to be in control of. But yeah, so would they be good, evil, morally grey? I think at the beginning maybe morally grey, and then aligned to the good side later. I'd like to have that grey background for a lot of superheroes, but I personally think Batman kind of is morally grey, but more towards the good side maybe, but it depends on which version you look at. Thank you so much, Lisa, for this question. The next question comes from Kelvin, and it is favorite superhero story event. And my favorite superhero, I know it's unoriginal, and he is the favorite superhero for everyone, and that's Batman. It always has been, I guess. I do like the Court of Owls run. That was really good. The Hush run as well, that's also something that I enjoy. I tried to I kind of left it halfway, but the Eternals run, that's also a run that I enjoyed reading. So who is your favorite DC hero, and who's your favorite Marvel? So my favorite DC hero is Batman. Again, that's going to be something that will be quite repetitive. And in Marvel, although I'm not super familiar, and I can't really say that I know a lot about a lot of the characters in Marvel, but I think X-Men in general as a collective is would be the answer to that, purely because of the genetic side to it, and how a mutation in genes can give people superpowers and capabilities. That has always been something that I absolutely enjoy and love, especially from my university studies about genetics, and although in an ideal world, should someone have mutations, it would be great to have powers. Unfortunately, that's not the reality. But yes, I think that would be the answer for me in Marvel. Again, I don't really know a lot about them apart from what the movies have and how they're portrayed there. But yeah, so Rebecca asked me, what's your favorite Spider-Man movie? I do like the first Spider-Man movies with Toby, and I also liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and I like Into the Spider-Verse. I am not a huge Spider-Man fan, so I can't really say which one for sure, but I have found enjoyment in all of them, in all of the ones that I've mentioned. Yeah, so Victor asked me favorite DC movie, and this is going to be Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition, and I can't really say anything about Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I have a feeling that might top it, but we'll wait and see. But for now, it most definitely is Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition. How could it not be? It has Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So, any superhero who is a scientist other than you? Thank you, Adnan, for that question. I can talk to you about DC superheroes who are also scientists. So Barry Allen, he could be considered as a scientist. Ray Palmer, who is also the Atom. He's a scientist. You've got Poison Ivy, who perhaps isn't who isn't a superhero, but she is a scientist, and she deserves the mention, I suppose. And Dr. John Osterman, who is Dr. Manhattan. I have a very special place in my heart for Dr. Manhattan, and I think that he's generally overlooked in terms of how powerful he is, and how, I mean, people pit Superman and Thor against each other, and I just sit there and laugh and think, well, Dr. Manhattan is there. But I guess that's for another discussion. But yeah, these are examples of scientists who are superheroes and or villains. If you could have a superpower, which one would it be? Thank you for the question, Javid. And it would be mind reading. There's something about it that it would make things a lot clearer to me, I suppose. Again, controlled mind reading. So, your top 10 favorite comic book characters of all time. So I'm going to give you my top favorite, and that's Batman. And then the rest, I have no order for them. I love them all in a different way. So, obviously, Superman is one of them. Simon Baz, who is my favorite Green Lantern, because I can relate to him through his culture and his heritage, I guess, as a Muslim superhero. That's also a great thing to have. Alongside Simon Baz is Jessica Cruz. She is amazing, and her struggles and her story is just so great to read in comics. Hawkgirl is another one. Aquaman and Mira, I'm gonna give them both a good mention in there. I think they are awesome, both as a team and as individual superheroes, I guess. Martian Manhunter, I love him so much. Flash, and I guess I could say Catwoman. I know she's in the middle. She's you know, she can be both, but yes, Catwoman is one of my favorites as well. So the other question was, you like the MCU, but you think it's not the gold standard that people think it is. So in general, there are some good moments in the MCU. I can't deny that. The Winter Soldier has a lot of good things going for it. And I guess Infinity War has a few awesome moments for the characters. And Black Panther is by far my absolute favorite movie in the MCU roster. I watched it in cinemas and I completely enjoyed it and thought that it had an impact on society and for females as well, because a lot of the powerful roles in that movie were held by females, which was a great representation and a great way to show women in power and how they can affect positive change in society and having a functional society in that. So there are some stellar moments in MCU. However, it just they do have a formulaic way about their movies, which doesn't really appeal to me. Although I understand that the MCU provides a lot of enjoyment to a lot of people. Clearly the box office speaks for that. So that's my answer for that, and I hope it doesn't really displease anyone, and I was as fair as I possibly could be. So my top 3 films, two of them are DC related, so Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition and The Dark Knight. And I guess you can say The Dark Knight is both comic book and non-comic book in a way, but I couldn't think of a third one without doing a disservice to a lot of other movies that I like that aren't necessarily superhero related. I think I've answered all the questions, but please do ask me any for so Freddie Matz has asked me, have you read any Christopher Moore novels? Hashtag lamb, hashtag blood-sucking friends, hashtag fool. Based off those, and because the name doesn't really ring any bells for me, I have not read any of Christopher Moore's novels. Maybe one day I'll give it a go. But thank you so much for the question. And yeah, I am so thankful for all of your support so far, and I hope that this is something that I can keep up with and something that I can continue doing for you guys. I hope that we get a lot of awesome news and a lot of awesome content in the next few years, maybe forever, or however long this world survives, especially in this current climate. It's such a nice thing to continue hearing good news and new things being made and new things being announced within the DC universe. And yeah, just ask away in the comments about anything that you'd like to ask or get to know, and or any topics that you'd like me to delve into soon, whenever I can get myself into doing this. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah, thank you.